What up, everybody? Good evening, good afternoon, and good night. Welcome to the Beats, Brews, and Points of View podcast, episode 119, coming live from Plymouth. I'm your host, E-Man Bates. Neil Richter unfortunately couldn't make it today because he's dealing with some health issues, so we wish him the best and hopefully get well. But we have a special treat for you guys. Sitting on my left, we have Eric on the mic once
What's
again.
up, guys? This is
Pew,
different
pew, pew,
being
pew,
on this side
pew.
of the camera.
And in camera.
Yeah.
I know, this is 2 for 2, dude. I'm gonna say we had to make you like the real third entourage of this show now. Like, yeah. All right. To my right, man, we got a dope artist from the Ann Arbor scene, right?
Yep.
Let's say, man, rocking the Michigan blue.
Yeah,
Blazing
man.
blue.
Yeah, not a Michigan grad, but it goes with the rest of the shit I'm wearing.
I got you, man. But yeah, we got man Issac Castor sitting by me, man. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you, man. Honestly, I've heard of you a while ago, and I think the first time I saw you was definitely the rap wrestling thing they had in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
That shit was at was that Russell?
Yeah, Russell Industrial Center.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, glad to have you. Yeah, man, I can't wait to dig into music. Ask you some questions. Let's see. Off the rip, should we do birthdays and all of that? Knock all that stuff out first before we get into the interview and the beers.
Yep.
Cool. So let's get into some stuff with the birthdays. Got some birthdays and a couple RIPs. So happy birthday to actor Brian Tyree Henry recently. Celine Dion. Got Mariah Carey, got Eric Clapton, Marvin Gaye, Lady Gaga, NF, and that's it all I have for birthdays. And a few RIPs. RIP to Estelle Harris, who you might know as Mrs. Potato Head for all my 90s babies, as well as the mother of George Costanza on Steinfeld. And we have country music artist C.W. McCall, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Birthdays, RIPs, bless up to everybody involved, and on to the next one, man. So, yeah, man, let's go with Gloves Off. Let's go with the latest single.
So I guess just a little bit about that song. It's about a year old. I have been sitting on it for a minute, and I really just had decided that I couldn't sit on it for any longer. It's probably pretty apparent from just the subject matter of the song. It's a lot of lyrics about feeling isolated and kind of going crazy and that sort of shit, and I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to, and just as I'm working on finishing up a couple other different projects now, I was looking at what I have, and I'm starting to think, like, all right, I got all these great tracks that I've made from the last time I put out my last album, Rabbit Hole, until now, that don't really have a home, and so I think Gloves Off, and then you're going to see a few other singles like that, and just kind of see where my head was at during that time period.
I got you. Okay. Let me ask you a couple questions, man, just about like stuff I've heard, like musically and everything like that. I really enjoy your beat production, first of all, because it really fits like your voice and vocals and stuff like that. It really gives because how you pick your production, like what producers do you use?
So the main producer that I work with these days is this guy Foulmouth from Detroit, who is absolute legend, if you ask me. One of the best producers in the city, probably my favorite producer in the city. I know I'm biased, but he's got great albums out with Fat Father, Bang Belushi, Aztec the Barfly, just to name a few. So you can check all those out on his Spotify page. His name's Foulmouth. He produced the entire Rabbit Hole album, and we are working on a sequel to that right now that we're about 80% done with. But I really think that, when I started to work with him is kind of when I started to see shit change in my career a little bit, for sure.
Got you. And I believe you're under was it Middle Finger Music Group, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Tell us about the camp. How'd you guys get started? Like, how did you get introduced to them? Like a little bit of background.
So that's actually Middle Finger Music is Foulmouth's imprint. He started it with Pat 313. Shout out to him as well. And basically, just I think their idea was to get the best spitters that they knew and try to form one collective out of them and kind of make like a Wu-Tang almost type super group or Slaughterhouse ×2. You know what I'm saying? Like a larger version of that. And so that's how I met most of those guys. I really didn't have a relationship with any of them beforehand. I don't even remember how I met Foulmouth. Like I feel like we just kind of linked up over Facebook or something. Like we just saw each other's stuff and ended up getting in the studio one day and ended up working out really well, and we kept working from there. But shout out to all those guys, man, because they took me in with open arms pretty much instantly.
That's almost like the best type of like friendships and like work relationships is like, I mean, I don't even remember how you guys met, but I fuck with you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like it doesn't even matter at all, straight up.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna play a little bit. We're gonna get back into this interview, but I'm gonna play a little bit of Gloves Off for those who want to hear it. While we're doing that, I'm gonna toast up let's toast up some beers. We got the Perrin Beer City Rye IPA coming off. So let's pour it up, toast it up, play a little bit of this, give it a breakdown, and let's get back into the interview.
Yeah, man, let's get it. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
You want a spark? I'm the plug dog.
Still crawling, still balling in the mix. Yeah, I've been around the block, I ain't falling for your tricks. Holding on to every last dollar till I'm rich. But my girl a little harder to convince. Look, she avoid me like vomit on the bench. We got everything in common but the sense. Gotta touch road to pay homage to the vets. But still walking off the stage awkward and depressed. Yo, don't even know the point I'm trying to make. I ain't seen the sun in 5 days like your boy about to hibernate. Staring into the black mirror, cyberspace filters everywhere. Everybody trying to hide their face. Falling victim to algorithm and blues. Watching other people's lives and how I fit in them shoes. Feel like I'm getting lapped like I'm swimming in pools. I just gotta stay focused and just spit it to fools like that.
You want a spark? I'm the plug dog. No holds barred when I pull the gloves off.
I really like the message of that, by the way. It's kind of just focus on your own race for the most part. And then, like, because, I mean, I feel like a lot of people get bogged down by, like, the numbers or whatever it may be. Like, because Instagram is just, like, social media is just, like, a snapshot into people's lives, if you think about it. And then you just, like,
Very
have, like, the
small one.
best, like, people take, like, the best parts of their life and put it for everybody to see. And then everybody on the outside looking in kind of, like, compares themselves to that in a way. So I really like the message of that song, by the way, as well, too, when it comes to, like, that particular verse.
Thanks, man. Well, I'm glad that's what you got out of that, because that's definitely a big, like, it's a big thing that frustrates me just about the world in general. Like, I just feel, I'm really glad that Instagram has given you, like, the option to get rid of likes and stuff like that, because I feel like people just try to portray their lives a certain way and leave out the negative elements, and I feel like that kind of mindset can carry over to your music when you're creative, and you kind of just start making bullshit if you think that's how the way the world's supposed to be. And so for a few years now, I've been trying to, like, just black my head out of that bullshit and just keep it raw. So I also got to shout out the producer of that track, because you were asking about who makes my beats, and the guy that produced that track is actually an EDM producer named Sully.
Okay.
He's signed to Liquid Strangers label Wakan. Super, one of my best friends from college. Great guy, even better producer. So yeah, go check his stuff out too if you're into electronic music.
Bet it up. You said Sully?
Sully, yep.
Got it,
Yeah.
man.
And
Shout out to Sully.
I did really enjoy that beat. Like, it wasn't just like, it was simple, but it kind of like got into you, and it wasn't just, you know, a bunch of bass and
Right.
you know, some hi-hats or something. It was thought out, but it was simple.
Yeah, man. That's definitely the type of stuff that I like to rap over. I feel like you have too much going on, it kind of drowns out what you're saying as a rapper. So
I'm gonna go into the rabbit hole because that was like, yeah, like production on that was solid. By the way, like it's very alchemisty almost in a way, that or like a Derringer or something like that.
Yep.
But yeah, let me let's break down this beer real quick. So we have the Beer City Rye IPA over from Perrin Brewing. I believe Perrin, I want to say, is Grand Rapids. The only reason I'm saying that because Beer City is Grand Rapids, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man, Beer City, USA. Or that, or actually, I'm sorry, it's Asheville, North Carolina, but we're Beer City, Michigan.
Yeah.
Comstock Park.
Is it
So
Comstock
that's
Park?
like part of Grand Rapids.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, what's where Bells and stuff, is that right?
I think,
Well,
no,
Bell's
Bell's
in
is
Kalamazoo.
Kalamazoo.
There's Kalamazoo, and then they had like their main location, I thought, was in Comstock.
Yep, that's right.
Cool. But yeah, by using real rye bread, this rye IPA is so true to style. In collaboration with Beer City Bread Company, this Imperial Rye IPA has notes of biscuit and caraway seeds from the Beer City Bread toasted rye bread added directly to the mash. All balanced and rendiscent American hops. or balanced by Distant American hop. Sorry about that. Yeah. Got that bready note to it. Really toasted. Got the very piney IPA like type. As you guys saw, as I guys on camera will see this, but Eric had like the dopest pour, I want to say, out of that too, because it was like almost about to flow. I'm like, got all the head on that one.
Yeah, that was unintentional. So.
Yeah, man, what do you think?
I think it's really good. I like it a lot. I'm a big IPA guy, and sometimes like the like super hazy ones and like that sort of thing.
The
but,
New
like,
Englands?
Yeah, and like when I heard that Bell's and Belgium were merging, I was kind of disappointed because like Voodoo Rangers and that kind of thing, not a fan. But this like just simple rye IPA, I mess with it for sure.
Yeah, man. I really do enjoy this. 8% ABV, so it's got that nice little buzz to it. 70 IBUs, so it's definitely on the bitter side, like an IPA is supposed to be. Enough to kind of like punch your tongue a little bit. Yeah, I really enjoy it, man. Follow us on Tapped at Beats and Brews Pod. Untapped.com/Beats and Brews Pod.
E-Man, what was your first IPA?
The first IPA I ever had?
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude. That's a good question, man. It might have been All Day from Founders. I think that's like that or Too Hard. It was like one of the more like notoriety ones too, I guess, in a way.
Too Hard was definitely my first, I think.
Yeah, same.
That was the first time I realized what beer. Actually, the very first time I realized what beer can do was I don't even think they make this anymore, but it was like a Miller Coors beer called Wild Blue. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but it has like a blue dog on the cover of it.
I think so, yeah.
That was like the first time I ever tasted something and was like, holy shit, you can taste beer doesn't taste like piss all the time. So I'm like, it was this beer made with blueberries, and I'll never forget this. I'm actually I was doing an interview with some guy, like it was like 2013, 2014, like first time I tried it, and I had like a 6-pack like after, like just like chilling. I was puking purple for like the whole day. Yeah, because it was like 8 or 9%. I was like maybe like 22, 23 at a time. So yeah,
sounds like wine or some shit.
Yeah, man. I wonder if they still make that. I'll probably look into that a little later. But yeah, man. Let's go into your last full project, which was the Rabbit Hole in 2020. I really enjoyed it. So you have a line on here that I really enjoy, and this is like one of my biggest pet peeves to watching live shows. I believe it was in the song Regal. It was like, you probably cuffed the mic. Cuffing the mic and backing vocals are my two biggest pet peeves for live shows entirely. Like I just, it's just such a bad habit to performance. I feel like, yeah, man. So like, what's some of your pet peeves when performing? I guess like when watching something or something like you think about after like you get off stage or something.
Those are, you definitely knocked out like probably the main two. I would say rapping over vocals is like probably more egregious than cupping the mic, because cupping the mic looks cool. Like I want to do it too, but you're right, it does not sound good.
It's almost like holding a gun sideways, like just like the whole like shit.
Exactly. Like it's all for the aesthetic, but it definitely doesn't carry over acoustically. The other thing that I guess really annoys me is like, and I don't know, maybe I just need to like be more selective with the shows that I accept, but I like can't stand like getting to a show that I'm doing like it's a favor for somebody almost, and then like it's 12:30 at night and I still haven't gone on, and like there's 10 people left, and it's like I'm not even like you know what I mean? Like I'm it's still dealing with that at this stage in my career.
The overloaded set list. Oh man,
not even that. Like it'll be like 4 or 5 cats on the bill, and then like, but cats will want to start late because they want to wait for their friends to get there, or they want to look cool on Instagram, so they want to have a big crowd to take pictures of. And it's like, man, let's just fucking rock out. Try and go home.
I feel you, man. All right, so let's go into the Rabbit Hole. Back in 2020, this project came out. I got a chance to listen to it. It's definitely a lot of substance on here, which I really enjoy too in music, because there's people that like rap just to like kind of like, to stunt rap and stuff like that, and then there's stuff like, it doesn't seem like your bag, which I really enjoy, by the way. Like I really like a message and substance in music. Yeah, let's take us through it, man. What's the overall like message of this one?
Well, I think there is like, I'll always have a decent amount of just like bragging raps, just because I like to put words together, and so I don't even really necessarily care as much about what I'm saying. But overall, I do want my projects to have a theme and a lot of the songs to have a concept. You're not going to get that on every single song, But I do like to strike a balance. But I would say this one was probably my most personal project, just talking about like as far as bad relationships go, and addiction, and just like that transition from being a college student into an independent adult. Just like all the fucking twisted shit that was going around in my head during that time period. Just a little snapshot of my
How old
life.
are you currently?
I'm 26. I'll be 27 in the fall.
Man, okay. So I was listening to Rabbit Hole, 99 Bottles, and speaking of addiction, because going to that, like, because I mean myself, like I got family members who deal with things like that too. So it is a genetic thing. I want to throw that out there, mind you. As you know, I'm drinking my IPA right now, but still, like, but it's one of those things is where like I really like that message is super underrated as far as like people who don't like take the time to like take breaks or even just stay away from it if you know how it affects you type deal, man. So just take us through that, like, because that seemed like a very personal track. So
Yeah, I've definitely had my issues in the past with drinking too much and then doing insane things that I regret. Luckily, it's never been anything more consequential than like losing like friendships or relationships, which can happen sober or drunk. But it's something that I'm conscious of and have been trying to nip in the bud, which, I mean, you point out we're drinking, but the way I look at it is like I don't drink hard liquor anymore. And the way I'm able to kind of keep that shit in check for myself is, just having a couple IPAs and keeping it at that makes it so I don't ever have to worry about getting fucked up and getting in a car or, you know, any of that shit. Like, I'm just always going to be, I can have fun and have a good time with everybody else, but I think that's important. If you are going to choose to not be completely sober, is just knowing what your limits are and how to balance that.
that's what's up, man. Name 5 songs. I do love that one because you kind of call out the casual fan and say like, "Oh my god, I love you," and they're like, "Okay, name 5 songs."
Yeah, it's not even something that happens to me really, like, but it's I think it was just like a funny punchline I thought of, and I just like converted it into a hook. But that's probably my most successful song, I would say. Definitely probably has the most commercial appeal out of anything on that album. More modern sounding than a lot of the vibes on there. But I think it's also a really cool, weird sounding sample that it doesn't sound like anything else really out there. So anytime you're going to get like some newer flavor from me, I'm going to try to do some shit that other people aren't doing.
Gotcha. One thing I do love too, because as Eric will tell you, like I am a huge sucker for concept albums too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really love the storytelling aspect of music because I feel like there's so many. Because when I make my own music and stuff like that, like people are getting like part of like my consciousness in a way and stuff like that, and like how I think and like my process and stuff like that, because it makes it really personable and relatable. And I feel that same way with you when I listen to this project and like as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to know what your process is like when you go into like making a full album in a way. Like what are you listening to? Like, what's the actual plan? Like, is it like a kind of like a snapshot of things like currently? Is this like some stuff from like, you know, just stuff you don't want to talk about and like in person and then put it in the music? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely easier for me to like actually start making progress on an album when I have stuff in my life to talk about. That's why my musical output during COVID, I know a lot of people were super productive, but me personally, I didn't really have anything going on. I was in the house and working from home, so not seeing people, not going to shows, not playing shows. So like everything that my life kind of revolves around wasn't there, and so now, I would say it's definitely like kind of how I have to approach it at this point as far as doing full projects and then like work on individual songs. I really like to do the one producer at a time thing. Like I was during COVID working on like a album because I wanted to get a bunch of my homies on there because there's so many different talented producers I'm friends with that I want to work with really bad. And I was just having a hard time like cohesively putting it together. But when you have somebody that's like actually composing the music and it's kind of a soundboard for like tying it all together, making shit cohesive, and you kind of have like, all right, this will work here, and like you kind of have an honest yes man almost is like how I look at somebody like Foul Mouth or somebody like Change.
I love that term, honest yes man.
You got to have those around, man. You put out bullshit. So
yeah, man. Let me see what else I got for you. What do you listen to when you're going into like the booth? Like before, like say day before, day of. Are you listening to rap? Are you listening to any other genres? What are you listening to?
Yeah, both. I mean, I always try to keep a good amount of rap in my palette just to like keep my like ideas sharp. Not that I'm like taking ideas from other people, but just like my like if I go a long time and I'm just like listening because I'm into all kinds of shit like jam band because my dad's a huge jam band fan and
You a Deadhead?
yeah, I am, yeah, and the Fish and all that shit. But like, if I go like a week without listening to some like lyrical rap, and then I try to go to write a rap, I'm like not gonna be as sharp. I gotta like, I guess I don't know. Maybe I don't know if like basketball players watch Sports Center to stay in the mood, but just sort of that thing. But yeah, I like to. Honestly, I usually just have my entire Spotify library on shuffle, and whatever it throws at me, it'll be songs that I added 10 years ago, songs that I added 2 weeks ago. So
Okay. Got anything?
Like what got you into like the projects you're doing now? Like what kicked all of this off?
like just rapping in general.
Yeah.
So my whole family is. I was born in Indiana. My whole family, outside like my parents and sisters, is from.
Oh, sorry, that was my
God,
grandmother.
You know we're recording? Oh, it's okay, Grandma. So I've moved around a lot. I lived in the suburbs of Chicago in Naperville when I was from ages like 6 to 8. And my neighbor across the street was really into hip hop. And then once I moved out here to Ann Arbor, he came and visited me. And I think it was like Christmas, New Year's Eve, like that weekend. And he like wrote a rap for me to recite. And like from then on, I started writing my own stuff. So I've been doing it literally since 2004 when I was 9.
That's what's up, man.
That's sweet.
Yeah, but as far as like how I kind of got into the scene, like so from that point until probably like 8th grade, I was kind of like rapping in secret because like I would tell family members or friends would find out, but I'm like this 12-year-old white kid, so everyone's making fun of me for it. So did not want people to know, but there's this teen center in Ann Arbor called the Neutral Zone that my mom found out about, and they had an MC workshop program there, so I got to go there.
Wait, what? That's is that still a thing?
I believe so. I mean, the Neutral Zone is still a thing. I don't know if the MC workshop is still running. I hope so.
That'd be cool.
I would think so.
So I need more people to get hip to that. That'd be sick.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I wanted that to be my job at one point because like a bunch of my homies that are like were my OGs. They're not homies now. Like that was like they got paid to teach kids how to rap basically every week. So it's a pretty cool thing that they do there. But I just got to meet a bunch of kids, mostly in high school, so they were a few years older than me. But that was my first time being around like other people that rapped, and then from there like doing open mics and then playing shows at the Blind Pig, and then yeah, it just kind of snowballs, you know.
All right, so I asked about this at the very beginning of the episode, and I kind of want to dig in deeper just because it was so dope watching this. Whose idea was the hip hop battle royale?
Oh, I want to say that was Joseph Coney Island.
Okay.
Who that venue in the Russell, the collab, he owns that spot.
That's what's up. Okay.
Yeah, he's dope, man. He does a lot for the scene.
Yeah.
I saw him at, I think it was Fat Father's release party, and we were just talking about doing a show. Like, I think we were maybe talking about doing something at like the Imagine at Royal Oak or something. He's like, man, I got this spot, the Russell, we could do. And I'm like, man, that would be what's up. And so, yeah, we got Crimson Alchemist and Dango 4-Lane, and that was definitely one of the best shows I've ever been a part of.
It was like, because I'm gonna talk a little bit about Wrestlemania because that's like loud. That was yesterday and then today too. Before we wrap up, for sure. I'm a big wrestling fan, so I was
yeah.
But like, I really just enjoyed the aesthetic of that because that was really dope. It was a really great turnout. That was my introduction to you, like just like seeing you live and stuff like that. And I think who put me on was a former guest of ours, Danae. That's how that's who actually got hip to you because of that. So shout out to Danae, episode 100. Yeah, man, it was a dope night. So let's see here. What else can we ask? I got some questions for you as far as what style wise, like who are you looking up to, like in music? Like it doesn't have to just be rap, just like in general.
Like musically or
musically, or in general.
I would say I really draw a lot of inspiration these days from. I mean, MF Doom inspired me so much. I got him on my arm
the
after he
villain.
passed.
Yeah.
So I definitely gotta say him. Jay Electronica is a big one for me. He doesn't have a ton of work out there, but the body of work that he does have out and the singles have really done a lot for the way that I try to go about making shit. Big Earl Sweatshirt fan as well. His more recent projects where he's kind of gone and done some more like kind of weird alternative production. I'm a big fan of those albums. Big fan of Action Bronson's approach and the way he like mixes humor into shit. I've definitely tried to incorporate more of that because I feel like even a producer I was working with one time said to me like, you know, all the great movies like there are even serious movies like there's always going to be little funny moments, little elements of humor sprinkled in, and I feel like that's not something that is always applied to music, but it's something that I've been trying to do. So
that's what's up, man. Let's see, one thing about too, I was actually checking out what other song was on here. Just like the overall, like, I'm trying to figure out the overall, like, actual message. What's the overall message you're trying to, like, get out of your music, like, for the listener? If there is, like, one. I mean, obviously it switches with song to song, too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I guess my message would just try to be my point of view, because I don't think that, like, because I've thought about this answer before, like, what message do I want to put out there, and I think the conclusion I've reached a lot of the time is, like, I don't really have the answers to shit. Like, I go back and listen to old soul, and I feel like a lot of the songs I'm, like, trying to kick a lot of life shit, and I'm like, man, I don't even agree with that, like, approach anymore. So it's basically, like, you know, we talk about, like, the snapshots of time and stuff like that. That's basically what you're going to get out of any part of any of my songs at any given moment is just kind of what I'm going through then.
That's the best answer you could have gave me. I'm gonna be honest with you, because the best thing I would say, like, because nobody knows anything, like, the fact that once you admit that you don't know things, but you act like, and you don't, and kind of like make it more personable and like that element to it. I mean, people fuck with you more, I feel like. In a way. So like it's just more one of those things where it's just like it's more like a genuine like feel to your music, I would say, in a way where you make it like relatable and kind of like digestible in a way.
It shows that you're human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like humanize or humble or humanize it.
Yeah, it's like almost freeing in a way. Like, I feel like if you feel like you have to portray a certain music and put out a certain image, it's like you're gonna be confined in what you feel you can do artistically, and it's not gonna come off as real, and it's gonna feel contrived. And so a lot of the shit I say, like, it might be raw and I might not be that well thought out, but it's going to be something that I honestly thought. So
welcome to podcasting.
Yep, yeah. That's why I love listening to podcasts, too.
Oh, what other pods are you listening to these days?
I do listen to Rogan, I'm not going to lie. Okay. He's got a lot of guests I like Freddie Gibbs and that sort of thing.
Wait, Freddie Gibbs was on Rogan?
Yeah.
What was that?
Like a couple weeks ago. Roasting about the N-word thing the whole time. It's hilarious.
That sounds like a Gibbs thing to do.
Yeah. Why am I drawing blanks now? I'm really into like I listen to Woodward Sports all day long while I'm working. A lot of comedian podcasts like Tom Segura's and Bill Burr. I used to like Hannibal Buress a lot. He, I think, stopped making as many episodes, but like he would do like freestyles on the theremin and stuff, and I love that whole like kind of musical freestyle aspect. I wish there was more of that out there.
Did you see Bill Burr when he was in Detroit back in November?
No, I didn't. Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
that was a fantastic show.